Hello and welcome to Chicken for Breakfast, the podcast where I talk about the basic fundamentals of life in perspective to, well, me. I'm your host, Magic. And if you haven't figured it out by now, we are doing season 2, and we are doing it in video form. I'm still trying to work through it, still trying to figure out how this works, but I've got my recording software, my editing software, I've got it all up right now. The only thing is, it's a little bit more challenging than I would think it would be, because I'm recording on my phone, not a camera. So for future reference, I will be trying to obtain a camera, but in some situations, cameras are not there. So we'll have to kind of experiment with it. We'll kind of have to learn as we go. But thank you. You are here. You are learning with me, and I definitely appreciate it. So this episode is obviously the first one of season 2, but I also thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of go over exactly what I think this whole thing is going to be about. Season 2 is based off of a 12-week, maybe 15-week premise of Scouts. I want to base it off of the entire Scout law, and that's owned by the Scouts BSA right now. It's not my content, but I do want to break it down. There are 12 points of the Scout law that I want to talk about and how I've associated them with my life, how important they are to me, and just how to be a good Scout through those points. And that's always been kind of the big thing through Scouts that I had to learn, and it stuck with me. It's always been there. And so once a week, we're going to talk about a point, and there's 12 of them. However, what I would also like to do is very often, most weeks, try to get a second episode out that's not pertaining to the Scout law, nothing about the original content. It's random. It's, maybe we do whatever, with a magic trick. Maybe we just kind of talk about something else going on in life, in the media, in the world. Maybe we do collaborations with others more. We got a lot of options here. But we are the biggest change to Chicken for Breakfast is that we are trying to video podcast, and this will be available on YouTube. Chicken for Breakfast podcast. Look it up on YouTube. It should pop up. If it doesn't, I will try to get a link down in the description below. But we're still staying on Anchor. We're still staying on all of our other platforms for audio, but we are going to be on YouTube as well. So as we go, it's a great learning experience, and I just want to take the time to thank you and say welcome. So without further ado, let's hop into what the Scout law is. So, a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Now, those are the 12 points of the Scout law, like I said, not owned by me, but they're very crucial. So today we are actually going to start with a Scout is trustworthy, because I think that is a big thing in life, is to not only be able to trust, but to be trusted. And it's important for all relationships. It's important for any sort of job position. It's important for any key aspect of human interaction. Trust is very hard to come by. No, you shouldn't just trust anyone. I'm aware of that too. But I think it's more of, do you trust yourself as well? So there's a lot that goes into trust, but here we are talking about it on the Chicken for Breakfast podcast, season 2. So we are going to take a quick little commercial break, and we will return. Note to self, make sure you're recording on both before you, talk for like 4 minutes straight. Yeah, I wasn't recording on my phone all that we had was the audio coming through. So here we are, we're starting. But trustworthiness is weird because it's not something that you just give. It's not something that is just there. Yeah, I do feel like there is a mutual level of trust, like trusting society, trusting humanity, trusting you're not going to get stabbed by that random person across the street. I mean, there's a level of trust, for sure. But I think that one of the biggest things is earning trust is a lot harder than just talking. I mean, it's the relationship that you have. And if you break that relationship with lying, with deceiving, with betrayal, anything like that, that's hard to come back from. And some people are very forgiving. I'm very forgiving. I forgive people for what they do. But if it's something, betraying and lying and not trustworthy, yeah, I forgive you, but I don't trust you. So at what point does trust become different from forgiveness? And that's something that's like mind-blowing because like I hate lying. I hate people who lie. I shouldn't use the word hate either. Let me rephrase. I really don't like it when people lie to me. That is the best way to ruin anything that we got going, any sort of relationship that we have. If you lie, and it's something like the bigger the lie, the harder it hurts, obviously. But lying, deception, anything of the sorts, that really gets me down. That really hurts. And obviously, yeah, I've lied. Everyone lies. If I said I wasn't lying, I'd be a liar, and then it'd start this whole paradox that we can't go into. But I'm not perfect. But I really don't like lying. I feel like there's never a reason that you should lie. Kind of. There's never a reason like you should legitimately lie about something. You should never try to hide it because the truth always finds a way. Always finds a way out. You got a secret, it's probably going to be not a secret very much longer. Especially if you tell one person, just one person, which is amazing because we're talking about trust. So we'll get there in a second. But a lot of the times, the truth is going to find out anyways. It's going to find its way out. It's going to get out there. And then it's a lot worse because now you look like a liar. You look like you're dishonest. You look like you can't be trusted. It just rips it down. So I'm not a fan of lying. I feel like honesty is always the best policy. But there are some like silly situations where it's like, hey, does this look good on me? And you're like, yeah, it doesn't. All right, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am gonna lie to you actually, but like it doesn't look great. But I'm not gonna hurt your feelings either. So it's like, yeah, it's always one of those moral dilemmas. Like, I'd like to sit here and be like, yeah, lying is so bad, but there's some situations where like we just do it and then we're like, oh, technically it was a lie, but it doesn't matter now because it's not a big one. So I don't know. It's a whole tangent I could go off. But back to the whole trust thing. Trust is something that you have to earn through, proving it. Proving that, when you obtain a secret, when someone tells you something, when someone asks you to do something close, like I give you $100 right now and I say, don't run away, don't take this 100, don't go spend it somewhere, don't do anything. Just stand here and hold it while I'm in the bathroom. If I come out of that bathroom and you're gone, obviously I can't trust you and I just lost $100. And this is completely hypothetical because I don't got $100 to give you anyways, but you see the point. It's like that. It's like doing things and developing a relationship, understanding someone well enough to know, would I be able to trust them to give them $100 while I go to the restroom? Would they still be there when I come out? Would I still have $100? Maybe I would only have 50. Maybe they lost it, And there's just so many. You could take any sort of situation and be like, if this person was in this situation with me, could I trust them? So, one of the biggest things is you have to earn that, and that's just something that you develop in any sort of a relationship, and it gets broken. It can get broken very easily. You can lose someone's trust like that. All it takes is one stupid decision to completely ruin trust. And there not being trust in a relationship, especially like a committed relationship, is people say like that'll never work. If you never trust them, it's never going to work, and that's true. But I think that sometimes that there's this level of giving a chance. So I trust you enough to know that like it'll come back. I love you enough. I trust you enough. I care enough that I understand as well that it was a mistake. I understand well that you messed up, and you recognize that. I recognize that. Trust is a weird thing because it's not forgiveness. It's simply a test, almost. It's simply just this characteristic that, like, hey, I know that I can rely on you for your honesty. I know that I can rely on you for your help. I know that I can trust that you will be there for me in any situation, whether it be, a backup in a verbal anything, whether it be holding $100 while I run in to use the restroom, anything of the sorts. That's trust. And I think that trust is very important. So after this quick commercial break, we do have another one coming up for you. After this quick commercial break, we're going to dive right back into it and talk a little bit more about it. So we've talked about trusting others, but now let's talk a little bit about trusting ourselves, trusting our instincts. Sometimes we question ourselves, we hesitate, we wonder, is this what I should be doing? So then we turn to other people and we ask, hey, what do you think? I think that sometimes we overestimate or underestimate our own abilities, and we don't actually ever trust ourselves, and some of us are better at it than others. But I think that sometimes we do things for the wrong reasons, and we're obviously very biased for ourselves, and sometimes we're not thinking straight, we're not thinking the right way, so it's kind of hard to trust ourselves in the grand scheme of things. But with that being said, understanding who we are, being self-aware, like we've talked about before on the channel, being self-aware, understanding ourselves, how much we're worth, understanding everything else that we've talked about kind of helps shapes us to be who we are. And understand, if there was a situation where my friend handed me $100 and said, I'm going to go to the restroom, could you hold this for me? I think that I would be able to do that because of me understanding who I am, me understanding how I am. And I'm not just saying that. I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, I would do it. Like, I think that's a very simple task to do anyways, because obviously it's not mine, but I think I respect the person enough. I know that I'm an honest person. I think that there's just a lot into that if I asked myself, could I trust myself to do that? Or if I was this person, would I trust me to do that? I think that's where, a big part of trust is too. Do we trust ourselves? So I want to wrap things up with this. A scout is trustworthy. Think about that. Put yourself in a situation both ways that we just talked about. Someone hands you $100. Are you going to be there when they come back out of that bathroom? Or think about it like this. If you're one of the people who really struggle sometimes to find out who they trust, to know who is trustworthy in their lives, take a situation like that and, who would be there when I got back out of the bathroom? You might be surprised. But you never actually know until you try it, right? I'm just messing. So, real quick, thank you for tuning into this episode. I definitely appreciate it. This is going to be an interesting thing that we try to figure out here, especially with like the whole video editing thing and whatnot. So just stick around. Let me know what you think. If it's on YouTube, it will be on YouTube. Not if. When it's on YouTube, there will be no commercial breaks actually, because obviously there's no advertisements on YouTube yet, unless we can build that, which I would love to do. I would love to build a YouTube community. However, we can't do that right now. So There won't actually be commercials on YouTube. So if you are interested in the video form, I'm curious to see how it turns out. Video form versus audio form. I think it'll do better. I think it'll be a great platform to kind of to get used to. But it will still be on Anchor. It will still be available to listen to, and that's why we're saving the audios and putting them all together as well. But ultimately, thank you so very much for tuning in today. I'm very excited for the future of the channel as well as the future of the community. And I appreciate you coming back. If this is your first episode, welcome. If you're, tuning in for the 80th time, we haven't had 80 episodes, but you get my point. If you've been here all along the way, I definitely appreciate it. And you guys are awesome. You're amazing. Thank you very much. I will see you later. Salute to you. Bye-bye.